On the coldest Christmas Eve in 100 years, the North Pole looked nothing like its usual sparkling self. The wind howled across the snowy plains like a lonely wolf, rattling the icicles that hung from Santa's workshop roof. Inside, every elf rushed around with nervous eyes, whispering worried questions, glancing toward the reindeer stables where something unusual had happened, something terrifying. For the first time in centuries, Santa's reindeer couldn't fly. It started just after sunrise. One moment Dasher was stretching his legs, warming up for the long journey ahead. The next moment he stumbled. Vixen collapsed soon after. Then Comet, Prancer, all of them one by one. As if a spreading wave of exhaustion had swept through the stable, their noses burned hot with fever. Their breaths came heavy and ragged, and their antlers glowed faintly, something that had never happened before. Santa had seen them tired before, but never like this. Never all at once. Never on Christmas Eve. Santa knelt beside Dasher, placing a gentle hand upon the reindeer's snowy fur. "Easy now," he whispered in his warm, deep voice. "We'll figure this out." But Dasher only let out a soft, pained chirp. The glow of his antlers shimmered weakly like a dying ember. The elves scrambled everywhere in a panic. Holly, the head elf, came running with a glowing scroll in her hands. "Santa, it's a magic alert," she said, out of breath. "The Northern Star energy is dropping." It's not powering them properly." Santa frowned, stroking his beard. The Northern Star was the source of his sleigh's magic and the power behind every reindeer's ability to fly. If its energy was fading, then Christmas itself was in danger. No reindeer, no sleigh. No sleigh, no gifts. And no gifts. Well, that was unthinkable. But as the commotion filled the workshop, as elves whispered about the end of Christmas, a soft voice cracked through the cold air. "Santa, I'm ready." The voice came from the smallest stall in the corner of the stable. Santa turned, eyes widening slightly. Standing there was a tiny, fragile reindeer with uneven antlers, skinny legs, and fur that always looked a little too puffy in some places and too flat in others. His name was Pip, the youngest, tiniest and weakest reindeer ever born at the North Pole, a reindeer who had never flown a real night flight, a reindeer who had never been chosen for the sleigh, a reindeer who Santa treated with gentle affection, but had never considered for something so dangerous, so important. Santa stepped closer, kneeling down to him. "Pip," he said softly, "you're brave for offering, but this job takes more magic than you've ever trained with. It's not about wanting to help. It's about the power to carry Christmas." Pip swallowed hard, his bright eyes shimmering. "I know I'm small. I know I'm weak. But I can help. I feel something, Santa. I feel it inside me. Ever since the star dimmed, something has changed. I don't cough anymore. My legs don't shake. My chest doesn't burn. I think I have the magic." The elves gasped. Pip had been born with weaker magic than the others, something that always held him back. But Santa suddenly noticed something strange. Pip's antlers were glowing, brighter than any reindeer in the stable. A warm golden glow, subtle but steady, alive. Santa placed a firm hand on Pip's shoulder. "If you feel magic," Santa said carefully, "then maybe the Northern Star didn't fade for everyone, but Pip, if you join me tonight, it will be the hardest flight of your life. You'll be carrying all the magic the others cannot." "I know," Pip said, his voice trembling but steady, "and I want to try." Before Santa could respond, Holly burst into the stable again, panic in her eyes. "Santa, the sleigh lights are flickering. The star crystal is dropping fast. If we don't leave in the next hour, Christmas is gone." Santa looked at his old, faithful reindeer, too weak to even lift their heads. Then he looked at the tiny reindeer in front of him. Pip wasn't strong and he wasn't fast, but he was glowing with something the others didn't have: hope. Santa took a deep breath, stood, and spoke loud enough for the elves to hear. "Prepare the sleigh." Gasps echoed through the workshop. You're really going with Pip?" Holly asked, her voice cracking. "I'm going with whoever still has magic," Santa replied. "And tonight that's him." The elves raced into action, fastening new harnesses, adjusting the sleigh's balance to match Pip's tiny size, and reinforcing the front rails so the sleigh wouldn't jerk him off his feet mid-flight. Meanwhile, Pip stepped forward, nerves buzzing through him, but also something else. It was like a spark was glowing in his chest, humming quietly, pulsing through his veins. As the sleigh lowered into place, Santa adjusted his red suit, tightened his gloves, and stepped into the seat. The sky outside the workshop was darkening, storm clouds forming a swirling vortex overhead. It wasn't a normal storm. It was a magic storm. Pip swallowed, took a deep breath, and stepped into his harness. He trembled at first, the cold wind biting through his thin fur. Santa leaned forward and spoke gently. "You don't need to be the strongest, Pip. You just need to believe." Pip nodded, eyes shining. The sleigh lights flickered once, twice, and then glowed. "Take us up," Santa commanded. Pip dug his hooves into the snow. His heart pounded. The storm roared. Lightning cracked across the sky. But Pip lowered his head, felt the glow inside him, and ran. At first it was slow, too slow. His legs slipped on the icy ground. The sleigh dragged heavily behind him. Elves exchanged worried looks. Holly held her breath. Then, as Pip heard the winds howl, something ignited inside him. He remembered the years he watched the other reindeer fly, the times he wished he could join them, the nights he stood outside Santa's workshop practicing flaps of his tiny wings, even though everyone said he wasn't built for it. He remembered every moment of wishing, hoping, dreaming, and then he felt his hooves lift, just a little at first, then more. Santa's sleigh rose an inch above the snow, then a foot, then 10 feet. Elves cheered wildly as Pip, tiny little Pip, carried Santa into the sky. The storm swallowed them instantly, darkness spinning all around, wind slapping Pip's face until his eyes watered. The northern star high above flickered like a dying candle. Pip felt its pull weakening, felt gravity trying to drag him down. "I can't hold it," Pip cried out. "You're not alone!" Santa shouted over the storm. "I'm right here. Use the magic you feel, not the magic you fear." Pip closed his eyes. He let go of the fear. He let go of the doubt. He reached deep beyond what he thought he had, into a place where only belief lives, a place where children wish, where dreams glow, where magic breathes. His antlers burst into golden light. The storm split apart. Pip shot upward through the clouds like a comet. Far below, elves stared in awe as the sky cracked open with golden streaks. Santa and Pip burst into the clear night sky above the storm, where stars glittered softly across the dark heavens. "You did it, Pip," Santa whispered, proud beyond words. But the battle wasn't over. The northern star's light was fading faster. Santa pulled out the star crystal from the front of the sleigh, a glowing orb that flickered in and out like a dying fire. "We must recharge it," Santa said. "Without full power, we can't make all the deliveries." "But how?" Santa looked at Pip. "The reindeer magic connects to the star. If you fly higher than any reindeer has before, your magic might recharge it." Pip stared at the sky. "Higher than the storm?" "Higher than the world." Pip swallowed hard. Then he nodded. The tiny reindeer shot upward, pushing past the edge of the clouds, higher than Santa's sleigh had ever reached. The cold was brutal. His wings shook violently. His lungs burned. But he kept going, glowing brighter with every breath. The darkness thinned until the world below curved like a glowing marble. Space shimmered around them, silent and vast. Stars burned in every direction. Pip reached the breaking point. His chest felt like it would burst, but he pushed just a little more. The star crystal in Santa's hands exploded with light, bright, golden, powerful. "Pip!" Santa shouted, shielded by the brilliance. "You're doing it!" The northern star flared back to life, brighter and stronger than ever before. Pip's body glowed with pure magic, his antlers shining so brightly they looked like golden fire. Then gravity snapped him downward. Santa grabbed the reins. "Hold on." The sleigh plunged toward Earth like a meteor. Pip spread his wings, fighting the drop with every ounce of magic inside him. He angled upward at the last second, soaring back into the clouds, Santa cheering behind him. They had done it. The magic was restored, and so Christmas began. Pip flew from rooftop to rooftop, guiding the sleigh with courage Santa had never seen. They traveled across snowy towns, quiet suburbs, glittering cities, and warm little villages wrapped in Christmas lights. Children slept soundly, unaware that the smallest reindeer in history was saving their holiday. Hours later, with every gift delivered, Pip and Santa finally touched. Down at the North Pole, the elves rushed toward them, laughing, cheering, crying. Holly hugged Pip so tightly his wings bent sideways. You saved Christmas," she whispered. Santa lifted Pip into the air with one big hand and proclaimed, "From this night forward, Pip will fly at the front of the sleigh, our newest, bravest, brightest reindeer." The stable erupted with joy. Even the sick reindeer lifted their heads. Weak but smiling, their magic slowly returning. That night, as snowfall drifted gently across the shimmering North Pole, Pip curled up in a warm bed of fresh hay. He smiled, closing his eyes as Santa whispered from the doorway, "You weren't the last reindeer, Pip. You were the first spark of a new Christmas." Pip drifted into sleep, glowing softly, magic pulsing like a heartbeat. And from that day on, every Christmas Eve sky carried a small, radiant streak of gold in front of Santa's sleigh, shining, brighter than all the rest, because sometimes the smallest one carries the biggest magic.